Good morning, Mike.
Greetings and hallucinations.
Welcome to Friday Live. It's our first Friday Live, a new series for Mike and I. And me and Mike, how is that supposed to go?
Mike and me.
Mike and me.
Mike and me. Because
New series for me, yes.
the proper way,
Yep, Mike and me.
if you do it without Mike,
It would be me,
it'd
not
be
I.
me,
Yeah.
not I. Oh, this
See,
is
today's grammar lesson brought to you by
Mike and me.
Mike and me. Welcome, photographers, professional photographers of Idaho and beyond. I'm Bob Ryder.
And I'm Mike Collins, I think.
You are Mike Collins.
Or I'm Mike and me.
If you're joining us for the first time, I'm the board president for Idaho, and you are our executive director.
Executive director.
I'm excited about that. A relatively new position to our organization, and already things are happening.
Done a lot of work behind the scenes that nobody even knows happened because
That's just because things are smoother.
nobody goes to the website, number one.
Well, we're working on that. Right?
And if you go to the website, you'll see a lot of changes. It's up to date.
See, now
Events
if I
are
thought
on.
about talking about the website, I could have pushed our website up into the graphics here, but I didn't think about that ahead of time.
That's okay.
Let's do September's first Friday Live, a little bit about our website and some of the things people can find there.
We could do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Pretty easy to
All right,
do.
that's very cool. We've got a cool live for you today. We've got a few announcements. Of course, today is our first Friday luncheon. I'm looking for this slide right here. Look at that. It's today. I want a today slide. There's my today slide.
We have one in Twin Falls, and we have one in Meridian today.
Yep,
Twin Falls is starting right now, or 11:30?
11:30, I think.
11:30.
And
Meridian starts at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. And I've got some new folks going to be joining us today.
Fantastic.
Nick and Aaron Allen. And they are well-experienced photographers, just returned to our area after years out of state. Texas and Montana and other things. Very cool folks. Had a nice sit-down chat with them here at the studio last week, or this week, I can't remember. It all kind of runs together. But we spent some time together, about 3 hours together, actually.
Wow.
And I think they're going to join us today. Let's come back to this. Today is First Friday Lunch. You just got that on the slide. Let me clear that. And man, good things happening, don't you think?
It's amazing everything we got going on right now.
So why don't we talk about that a little bit?
We
I'll
can do
run the
that.
slides. You want to talk about this is coming up.
This is fantastic. This
Okay.
is going to be a blast. And Monday the 14th at 6:30, we're going to go to Flaming Acres, which is in Caldwell. And we're going to be shooting some flowers. Photographing some flowers.
Photographing some flowers. And, this is outside my genre, where I spend my work time. So I enjoy these monthly shoots where we have an opportunity to do something different. And most profoundly was the rodeo.
You know, the cool thing about these is if it's not your genre, it gives you a chance to expand your mind,
Flex.
expand that, the big,
Yeah.
well, not so much there.
It gives you an opportunity to flex, right?
And this is going to be,
Flex those photography muscles and
I'm not a flower photographer,
Right.
but I'm going.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a chance to get some art.
I was I was thinking it was this coming Monday, and I've already talked to you about this coming week is not a good week for my schedule. So I was in a little bit of a bother about it, and then I realized it's the following week. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can go! So that's good.
That's a hectic day too, because that's the day everybody drops off their images for print competition at the county fair. This is the 14th.
Okay.
Um,
I have
And
to
it's a
apologize
Monday.
and say I don't follow much with the county fair.
I entered a couple years ago and did well first try. Last year I didn't enter. This year I'm going to again, and we'll see what happens. And good morning, Bri.
Yeah, and thankfully she just told me my music is on, and it's not supposed to be. It was supposed to have timed out. But I'll just knock that back, and it's good. Thanks for letting me know, Bri. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was supposed to time out. I'll have to check my timers on that. But
So
anyway.
that's going to be a blast. Right now I think there's 8 people signed up to go. So we'll have a good crowd out there, a lot of friendly, happy people. September, I think there was a change to September's.
There is a change to September. Laquita, can you share that with us live, and I'll just post that up on the feed. I know she's got something cool planned. Oh, I think we're at Phil's, I think we're at the 8th Street Studio.
I believe we are.
8th Street Studio, I think. Oh, you're looking at our website.
Oh, we're photographing fall colors. It's going to be at Reed Merrill
That's
Park.
October.
Oh, I'm looking at. Oh, I'm
There's
supposed to be looking at September. I don't have it down for September.
Yeah, no, I think she said that we're going to be
at Phil's
8th
studio.
Street Studio. See, I love that you're watching today, Q. I really appreciate it. We need the help.
Yes,
Clearly,
we do.
we need the help today, right? I was telling you, I've got a lot on my mind this morning, and maybe having a little bit of some concentration issues.
That's never mind. I'm not even going to go. I got
It just
CRS,
goes that way,
so.
right? Like, yeah. Just trying to stay on track and make sure we hit all the high notes here. Let's see what's coming up. We're going to skip that one. Let's talk about our holiday parties real quick. We've got a plan for holiday parties. So mark your calendars for this. This is save your date stuff. We still need to make reservations at the restaurants, but our plan, if all goes accordingly, is to be back at Jakers.
Yeah, they got good food.
They've got good food. You know, one of the things that always, I might have mentioned this last week, is most of the time when I go to Jakers, Jake is out there on the floor helping his service staff and greeting the patrons. And he's not a young dude. Yeah, I sincerely admire the guy. I think he's done something really great with his restaurants. Enjoy passing them the business,
Well,
right?
the cool thing is I didn't go to the one in Pocatello last year. I went to the one in Meridian, obviously.
Yeah.
And they put us in a back room all by ourselves, and you just get to hang out and talk.
It's just us.
It's just us.
It's just us and food and conversation. Of course, the holiday spirit is still kind of in tow. We always do this right after the beginning of the year, so we're not competing with the holiday parties for all the businesses and companies and all that. And it's just a good time, I think, that we start fresh. We're talking new ideas and other really neat things. I think it's just great. So save the date for those holiday parties. I'll put that back up real quick, just so you can grab that.
January 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, grab a screenshot if you need to. In 3, 2, 1. And we're back. All right. Let's look at dates for 2024 convention. This is, do you realize how close we are to this?
We're about 6 months out. A little over 6 months.
And you've...
However, we've got speakers lined up.
Yeah, we've got speakers lined up.
Speakers, and more speakers. I've got signed contracts for all but one of them.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. I mean, it's just,
I need to get that one back to you that's in multiple pages. I'm going to try and figure out how to put it into one page, one document, so
easy.
that...
I can show you how to do that in
Well,
Photoshop.
yeah, I know how to do it. I just, like I said, I have a lot going.
Yep.
I just need to take the time to put this, because I want all the documents to be the same in our storage system, so they're easy for retrieval and understanding when somebody else needs to look at them. So anyway, that's coming up. Let's see what this last thing is. Next year's fall retreat. These dates are pretty well confirmed. We've made reservations up at the Western Pleasure Guest Ranch up in Sandpoint. This is next year's fall retreat. That kind of leaves us hanging on this year's fall retreat. We could talk about that for just a minute. We were planning a big adventure down to Salt Lake for something, and that's not firming up quite like we'd like it to. This is just being honest with our members, right?
You got to be.
We had something that we thought was cool, and it was going to mesh, and it really hasn't meshed. So we're moving on to that. I think we're going to try and stay on. Let's just say we're going to try and stay on those same dates. That same weekend, we might shift Friday to Monday or something like that. I'll tease those dates one more time. This is the weekend we're looking at. Just know that it could flex a little bit along the way.
Carrie has been busting her butt trying to get this.
Yeah,
done.
yeah. This isn't really a failing of anybody on the board.
No, she's been busting her butt.
This was external influence, and honestly, as that goes, trying to rely on other people outside your organization, our importance, our urgency isn't their importance or urgency, right?
Exactly.
So you can't really put it on them either. It just isn't lining up well. So I think we're going to cut and run and do something else. So we're back to pivot on that, lining up something that I have to clear my throat. So I'm going to mute for a minute. You can carry that.
I would be happy to carry that. All I know is we're working hard behind the scenes to make something happen for you and make it great. That's the important part. We want to make it great.
Yep, want to make it great, and we want to be able to give you some information that we don't have to change all the information on you. Does that make sense? I don't want you to make plans out of state and then shift gears. So
Right.
I think that we're going to work, and by we, I mean you and me and the board, are going to work hard this next 5 days to pull something together so that we can make an announcement at the end of this coming week. Does that sound reasonable?
Sounds good to me.
We are thinking live. And there's some danger in this, right?
Just thinking is dangerous in my mind anyway.
You know, I love it that we can multiply the brain power by all the board members and you, and we bring this all together and we come up with something really cool. We have a couple of irons in the fire with this that I think could be really cool. And of course, the danger is that we put these dates out and you look at holding those dates and we have to pivot. But I think our pivot should work pretty well.
We'll see what happens.
Right? Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll have that for you in the coming week. Again, we had something pretty cool on the offering, and I think we have to draw that back and shift gears. But I'm fine with it. I think it's going to be really good in the end. So that's that. How are we doing on time? We are in really good shape to be wrapping up our announcements, right? Right before quarter after.
Yep.
And when Larry and I do this, we usually gab to about this point before we start digging into the topic.
And one of the things I want to say, I've been sending out emails probably on a weekly basis right now. If you're not getting emails from PPI, Professional Photographers of Idaho, please let me know. Email me.
How can they get a hold of you?
My email's on the website
Okay.
at the bottom.
Do you want to tell them?
No, because I can't remember it. I got CRS.
Is it, are you using the pp of Idaho at gmail.com?
That's the one.
pp of Idaho at gmail.com.
Or they can use my other email, which is michael@collinsphoto, FOTO.com.
Why did you do that?
Because PH was taken,
Okay.
and photo, starting with an F,
Is European.
is European, Spanish.
Yep.
I started in a place that was a lot of Spanish conversations,
Yeah.
a lot.
I love
in California.
We've been going to Pueblo Lindo and having some meetings there over lunch. You, me, and my wife, right? And the three of us, and we have a favorite waitress there who engages us in Spanish conversation and some Spanish lessons as we go. Her English is flawless.
Not flawless, but it's very, very
It's
good.
very good. Well,
She tries.
she does a great job.
She
But
does.
she's willing to share. Like, I can't remember what iced tea is. It's Té something or other. It's not Té Frio. What's ice?
Té. It was Té Frio.
Is it Té Frio?
Yeah.
Cold tea. Yeah. Okay. That's your Spanish lesson for the day. We've covered grammar and another language. We're in great shape. I've got a question for you today, and I floated this with a business group this week. And the conversation that ensued for about half an hour was just terrific. The ideas that came out of it, just posing the question causes people to think a little bit. And this is a question, I'm going to come into the Zoom camera here. This is a question I know you get, right?
All the time.
All the time. And I got this question this week from a long-standing client whom I haven't seen for a while. And it caused me pause to think about why they were asking the question. And then it hit me. So let's talk about that. We ready? Let's
do it.
Let's give them the question. I want to bring this in this way. Bum, bum, bum. How do you receive the price question? And that question looks a lot like,
How much is an 8x10? Or how much do you charge for
how much is a
XYZ?
headshot?
Yeah, for you, how much is a headshot?
I was bidding with a client this week. We're having a great conversation. I was demoing portfolio and talking about our process, and they want to storyboard this major shoot. He owns 3 businesses. They're all related. This is a major job. And of course, price is a factor, right? So we're having the price conversation, and I'm unapologetic. I'm finally at a point where I'm unapologetic about my prices. And I lay the price out and stop for a minute so they can digest it. I'm not looking for the sale at this table. This is just a discovery meeting, right? And I don't know, do you realize that a lot of conversations with your potential clients are just that? They're a discovery conversation.
It is. And a lot of times asking that question is, even if you don't answer the how much is your 8x10, they're learning, especially with portraits or weddings, they're learning, do they want to work with you?
Yeah, how are you relating? Right?
Exactly.
That's part of the discovery.
Exactly.
I think discovery conversation could be a whole topic for a live.
Could be a whole, some people speak on that.
Yeah.
And that's their program.
So I'm having this conversation. He owns one of his businesses is a major automotive repair facility, and asking a photographer how much is a lot like saying my car's broken down. How much to fix it? Mm-hmm. And he chuckled. He's like, "What's wrong with it? Like what?" I'm like, "Exactly, right?" He's like nodding along, just like you are, nodding along, because that question makes so much more sense when you start to put it into that context of it's not this. It's not an X. It's not drawing a line in the sand. It's not a fixed point. What does this look like?
Yeah, exactly.
I had a quick phone call this morning while I was prepping the live with a prospective client, a referral, which I love that, right? They already have a connection to me. So this isn't a cold conversation. It's a warm conversation. She's already been told that this person likes me. Cool.
You're in.
And this discovery conversation happens over a period of 5 minutes. We covered location shoots, studio shoots, pricing, location fees, availability dates. I didn't want to leave her hanging. I get an email. I'm busy now. I'm busy for the lunch today. And I didn't want to wait until the afternoon. So I called her while I was doing something. I said, "Hey, look, I'm doing something, but I wanted to call you along the way because I don't want to leave you hanging." She's got 3 different locations throughout the Treasure Valley. One's way out on the very end of the Treasure Valley. We're end to end on this job. Cool. How does this work? How does it work? That's one of the things she asked her email. How does this work? Part of this is the price equation. Part of this is this point where a lot of us get stuck. God, I hate the price question. Don't hate the price question.
No.
Right? The price question is part of discovery, and this is actually point 4. It's the question they've been programmed to ask.
What other question do they ask?
What other question?
When you answer, if you answer your phone, which I know a lot of people don't answer their phone.
Yeah.
The first question out is, how much do you charge for XYZ?
XYZ.
And I think they've been programmed. This is the question, or
Well,
that's the only
I'm going to
question.
buy a car. How much is it? I'm going to buy flowers. How much are the flowers? Well, what kind of flowers are you looking for?
Exactly.
I can't think. So I floated this at a business group this week, my leads group. We had easily a dozen business leaders there. I've got salesmen. I've got accountants, CPAs. I've got it's all like it's a myriad of people. We had guests. We have web designers. It was a very cool meeting, and it always is. And I floated this question to everybody, and everybody has this question. So get over the fear of this question.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of just an introduction of who you are and who they are.
Yep. So the first part of this that you have to tackle in your head, why did they ask the question? Well, they asked the question probably because they've been programmed to ask the question.
That's
But then the other part of that is, are they price shopping? Or, and this is a big deal for me, this is what I encountered with my client this week, by email. Or do they simply need to know the cost? How much does it cost? What am I looking at? What do I have to plan for? What do I have to tell my boss? What do we have to put in the budget? In my world, I'll get an inquiry in September, October timeframe that's not going to bear fruit until March or April. It has to go into their budget conversation. It has to become a line item. Maybe they're going to try it themselves. This is the conversation I had this morning. They've already tried it themselves. It didn't work. Now they're looking for somebody who knows what they're doing. Great.
You know, it's amazing when people try to do it themselves and they admit it to you, or after you get all the information from them, you go check out their website for their business and go, oh, I know why you're here.
Yeah, and you know what? I love to diffuse the stress a client might be feeling. Well, we tried it ourselves. I told her, yeah, I get that a lot. We get that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gave her an example of an organization she probably recognized. It's an opportunity for me to drop a name, if you will, that she's probably going to recognize. Oh, you work with them. That's going on in her mind. They tried it themselves too. It didn't quite work out, and now we're working together. I love that. I'm laying a foundation for a successful pickup on this job, and I hope that she looks at other people. I also told her, I said, we're not the low price leader. If you're looking for a value priced photographer, that's not us. We specialize. This is what we do. This is our specialty. I can handle all 3 of your offices in a day or a day and a half, depending on the schedules. So, you know, just laying the foundation. She's going to look around. She's going to find somebody that's a lot less expensive than we are. And in my world, oftentimes, if you don't charge enough, they won't look at you.
Right.
So and there's a sweet spot there. Sometimes we're over that mark. Sometimes we're under that mark. I got the price question from a prospective client out of Sacramento. And I told her my cost to do what she asked. And she's like, that's not enough. We're going to pay you this much. Sweet.
Okay. I won't argue with you.
And it wasn't off by much. It was like $50. But that's not enough. We're going to pay you this much. That's how much she had to pay for this job. It's how much they've been paying their local photographers out there. Cool. And I'm okay with that. I'll send you an invoice for that amount.
Yeah,
right?
It's fun when you shoot for a client and then they don't come back the following year and you're going,
what did I do wrong?
Yeah, exactly. your ego's going, something's wrong here. I don't know what I did. And then you look at the website and say, oh, they went to so-and-so because you recognize their work.
Yeah.
And you go, they'll be back.
You know, and when I talk about diffusing, I'll have clients, hey, we're going to try something else. That's terrific. I hope that works.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, we're still here. No love lost, no harm done. You've got to try, I understand you've got a budget to work with. Try that. If it works, you're all set. You don't need me. Have you ever told that to a client? You don't need me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get kind of a stunned response with that because they expect you to kind of beg for the work, or at least, I'm like, you don't need me.
You need me, but you don't need me.
Yeah, you know, I did a major event for law enforcement and military at the Capitol last month. All of the heads of departments, all of the leadership from all of the departments in the Treasure Valley were there, with one notable exception. But all of the chiefs of police, the commanders, the lieutenants, everybody's there. It was a cool event. It was hosted by a law firm that I would love as a client. Law firms are great clients for headshot photographers. And I was talking to the gal who's in charge of their marketing and who had hired me for this event. And I said, so who does your headshots? She goes, oh, I love my headshot photographer. I'm like, great. Who is it? I want to know. She told me, I'm like, they do great work. You don't need me. If something happens down the road, give me a call.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm so glad you said that. It's easy.
I did headshots for a financial company. I figured, okay, we'll go in and drop a background and do that. No, we want them inside the office.
Okay.
Want the office
Like
in the
office
background.
environmental.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we did that, and a year later they changed photographers, somebody a lot cheaper, and they did background pictures. Okay.
Whatever.
Whatever it is. I mean, I got plenty of business to keep me happy. And now I'm retired, so I don't have to get any business. But if somebody wants me to shoot, I'm easy.
Yeah, and they're going to lead with, bum, bum, bum. Right? That was not quite as dramatic as I'd hoped. They're going to ask her the price question.
Yep.
How much for senior pictures? Well, that's a great question. What are you looking for?
Exactly. Are you looking for indoor, outdoor? Are you looking for way far away? Because we may have to charge gas on there as well. Are you looking for a photographer that's going to make you look good? Or you're looking for a photographer you can work with? And weddings especially. You're talking about an all-day event that you have to be able to work with this photographer who's not a prima donna.
Yeah.
I
did a consultation yesterday evening after 5 o'clock. I had a client, a prospective client, actually somebody that I photographed for another role. And she's bringing me potentially 80 people.
Okay. That works.
When do you get off work? We can have a conversation at my studio. I get off at 5. Great. Come on by. So we sat here for an hour into the 6 o'clock hour and talked about what their needs were. And this is another conversation to have, but she was in my studio because the person this organization has been using is difficult to deal with. And I'm more expensive.
Well.
And I got a text confirmation this morning. Everybody's excited to have you on board.
Way cool. That's like when I was lining up speakers for our convention next year. First question out of my mouth is,
how much to come to Idaho?
Because I want you, because I know who you are and I know about you.
Yeah.
And how much do you charge? And it's a little bit of sticker shock in the beginning. Then you negotiate with them a little bit.
Certainly.
And twist their arms and
well,
say,
when was the last time you came to Idaho? Well, I've never been to Idaho. You've never been to Idaho? Like, this is, right?
Exactly.
Got to sell it a little bit, right? I think it's important also. I told my client this morning, this is business. If I'm wildly outside your budget, let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, if I'm wildly outside the budget, we're probably not a good fit. But if we're close, let's have a conversation. Because this is business, right? I don't want to forego photographing these 20 people in 3 offices. This is a good payday. I don't want to forego that for a few $100. I'm just, if they're like, yeah, we really want to hire you, but the location fee seems a little exorbitant. Great, what seems more reasonable to you? The location fee covers a lot of things for us.
Oh, yeah. They don't realize what it covers either.
Yeah,
sometimes
I kind of laid it out.
to them.
You know, we carry insurance specifically for when our equipment is not in our studio. I carry liability coverage for wherever I'm at. Some places that we photograph require to be listed as additional insured. You've got to have an insurance certificate. Mm-hmm. We carry a location fee that covers a lot of those things, right? And there's increased wear and tear on equipment. There's a lot of nuances to that, right? But the location fee is crafted to be flexible for our business. And so I guess I say that to say that are your prices like set in stone? Is this what you have to do the job? Or do you have a little bit of flexibility? And do you realize that, you know, are you going to give up a $15,000 payday for a $900? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, because I'm better than that. One of those prima donnas again.
Yeah.
But yeah, people don't realize when you're talking to other businesses, other photographers, do they have insurance?
Well, that's a big deal, right?
I mean, I had to carry $1 million liability for a location, listing them as a
additional insured.
Additional insured.
Yep.
And they had to have it before we could even talk.
I send an email to my insurance agent And I get that certificate back as a PDF within minutes.
Yeah.
That's business, folks. That's having a solid insurer. You want to work at the Boise Center, you want to work, there's a lot of venues that require you to have that insurance policy in hand. Now they don't ask. I worked there enough. They don't ask anymore. But I've had to provide that. So that's part of the price equation, right? So I want to ask Laquita, because I hope you're still here. She's probably working. How do you handle the price? How do you receive the price question? Is it somebody who's shopping around for price? That's okay. Is it they just need to know the cost? That's a lot of times in my place. And going back to my client that I hadn't heard from in a while, you said this, like you do a job for a customer and then you don't hear from them for a while. I had an incident that occurred.
We won't go into details.
No. I had an incident that occurred on this client's property, and I thought maybe I'd burned a bridge. And I'd been told no, that wasn't the case. Well, 2 years later, they show up in my email. Hey, we've got some new people. What's the cost? And when are you available? I'm like, what's the cost? Wow, they're leading with that. Huh, guess what? What is it?
And when you get that question via email, do you respond via email or do you call them?
Yeah,
do
so
that personal touch where you get a chance to have a conversation with them.
In my case, they just need to know the cost. It was a quick question and it's a quick response. It's this much per head and I can get you in the week after next. Guess what?
You're booked.
Here's the booking link. I'm booked. I've got a yellow tag over there. They're coming in on the 17th with their additional people. They just needed to know how much. It wasn't a shopping question. It was just, what's it cost?
Yeah.
I don't mean to laugh about it, but sometimes it's just really stupid simple. This isn't all that difficult. So Laquita says, I usually ask them what they're looking for photography-wise and go from there. So Q, do you have a fixed price? Do you have an idea? So I have an idea of how much I need to make per hour to cover, well.
That's a whole program in itself.
Oh, it really is. But I'll just
time.
say this. We have priced ourselves for sustainability. And that was a lesson I learned almost 20 years ago from the SBA. They do the small business development centers all around the country. And I met with one of the SBDC folks. And this was in relationship to our store. How do you set your pricing? Are you priced for sustainability? I'm like, what do you mean about sustainability? This feeds right to the price question, folks. Sustainability, are you able to do this today at this cost to get you to next year to still be doing this? So this person told me, and it floored me, but it's been with me for 20 years. This was 2005. So 18 years ago. And this message has been with me. You owe it to your customer to still be available to them when they need you again.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to go to the trouble to build a relationship with a client, then you both owe it to each other to still be there for each other down the road. So we've got clients we've had for 5-6 years. I am so happy to have these clients. This summer, I haven't done a whole lot of business development. We went to Boston for 9 days. I've been camping for a week out to Oregon. I'm going camping next week with my 16-year-old and 2 of his friends for my 16-year-old's birthday. He's turning 17. This summer hasn't been the summer of business development. We haven't been hitting it hard. I've been enjoying my family time. It's the first time in 20 years in business that I've been able to just set the cruise control and step away from the wheel for a minute or two. And things are still booking. And guess what? We're priced for sustainability. Our monitor's slumped.
That's okay. We don't need it.
No, I do.
No, we're good.
We are good.
And you talk about that. I've got a client that I photographed her kid when he was 5 did mutton busting.
Oh, fun.
And I came in the studio, we did a little mutton busting set and did that. She messaged me over the summer and said, are you coming back to California before October so that I can get my son's senior portraits done?
Beautiful.
So I had to make a special trip out to California.
You have to.
I got no choice. 'Cause number one, she's a great client, and it's not about the money in this case.
No, it's the relationship.
It's the relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to do it.
That's when you're going.
The first week of October.
And so you hit a Lumpo?
Yeah.
Need a second shooter? I haven't been back to California in years. Anyway, folks, I don't mean to make light of the price question because it's very serious and it's a lot of time it makes your blood pressure rise.
It's intimidating.
It can be intimidating. So all I'm trying to do for you is help you reframe what that question might look like from the client perspective. My wife and I just did an exercise. I would love to have a new 3/4 ton Dodge Ram truck. And so we did the numbers exercise. I'm like, 80 grand, 10% interest. I love my truck.
My truck's not that bad.
I love my truck. I will own my truck next year. I'm good. Like the price question for me, and I didn't call anybody, we just went online and I'm like, wow, 80 grand for a new truck? I don't think so. I just don't think so. And you know what? That's okay. Like as a consumer, when I find a price point that just simply floors me, I'm probably going to shy away. And you know what? As a businessman, I get that sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, I wasn't expected to be that much. I just need something for a business card. Great. Let me give you a referral.
I am not the cheapest photographer in town, or when I was
photographing,
I was not the cheapest. And I knew when I went to events, photographers say, well, you should be charging this much. I'm going, no, I'm the highest in my city right now.
Yeah.
And I can't even come to a third of what you're asking me to charge. So
yeah. We, I guess another conversation to have around this, and I love, we're rolling right on time here. I'd like to wrap up right around quarter till. Inflation, I saw a lousy meme the other day, and I say lousy meme because it caught my attention on how misunderstood this person, how badly this person who posted this meme misunderstood what was happening. They say inflation is going down, but prices are still going up. No, inflation is slowing. Inflation is slowing
prices
as it goes up.
Yeah.
I equate this to getting on the freeway, and there's cars that are going 90, and there's cars that are going 65. I'm still going. I'm just going 65. I'm not going 90. That's inflation right now. Inflation is cooling. It's lower, down to about 3%, I think, nationwide. On the national level, towards 3% anyway, cooling. That means we're still inflating, right? At 3+%. So this is a time to be considering your prices, and does inflation affect your ability to be sustainable long term? It does. Let's come into the other camera. Inflation does affect your sustainability. So your prices from 5 years ago or 2 years ago really aren't the prices you should be charging today. I'm very comfortable with our corporate rates right now because we just made that big bump at the beginning of the year. But I'm not comfortable with our current pricing structure for individuals. And we're doing a ton of individual work right now. For me, fall and winter, Q4, Q1, are my corporate times, and during the summer, we're doing a lot of individuals. Might be 2 or 3 individuals, but a lot of individuals. We need to adjust that pricing because I think it needs an adjustment. And it's not just up, it's a little bit of a different structure on how I want that to work.
And when you set your pricing, you can shoot 100 images at $1 a piece, or you can shoot 10 images at $10 a piece, or you can shoot 1 image at $100 and still make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
How much do you want to work?
There's an important lesson there too, right? A lot of this is pretty cool. A lot of our sessions 15 or 20 minutes. Okay, factor in 10 or 12 minutes for post-processing, 30 minutes, it's like $500 or $600 an hour. I'm pretty comfortable with that.
If you're getting enough of those to keep you going.
If you're getting enough of those to keep you going, right? The thing that we changed our pricing structure around a little bit, we're still talking about price, so I'm good with it. We changed to a slightly different model, and we saw a drop off in how many additional images people are buying. So I'm going to shift it back so that we're getting those tag-on sales. Because I love it when you book a session, they come in, and instead of getting the one image, they're going to buy 5. And then I'm like, you're buying 5. I'm going to give you that 6th image that you loved. That's on me.
Yep.
And now I've changed this from a $200 or $300 sale, $1,500 sale, or $1,200 sale. So we're going to make that adjustment again. Folks, A/B testing. I tried A, cool. I tried B. Which one works better? A worked better. A/B testing is important. I hope you're experimenting with that in your pricing. I didn't mean necessarily to go down the pricing rabbit hole, but these are some salient points that are reachable. Like you can test things with your clients and see what works, what they're responding to.
Yeah.
Right? I think I'm constantly doing it. Like, what's resonating with my clients today? Because it might not be what worked last year. Because things are...
And a lot of times it's just customer service.
I
can't say enough about customer service. I'll pay more to go to a grocery store that gives me great customer service versus the inexpensive place where you bag your own groceries and they don't even talk to you there.
I've got a tire shop that I like in town. Tire shop.
Yeah.
I've got a tire shop I like in town. I like their waiting room. It's comfortable. They don't put stupid stuff on their TV. They have the TV on, but it's usually something interesting like a home improvement thing or whatever. And the staff are nice. They know me. I can limp in with a screw in my tire, and I'm out of there in 10 minutes with a fixed tire.
At no charge.
You know what? I was out in Baker City, and I flatted up at a reservoir. I changed my tire. That was not fun, right? I'm not broken, but I'm not all that. Anyway, changed my tire on my truck, and took my time with it. Took an hour. We were safe. We're up at this reservoir. I've got a rock through the tread. Rock. Like a piece of shale. Anyway, put my spare on, get back to the campsite, and I call around the next morning. I actually called my tire shop. And they said, look, we don't have a footprint there. Go to these people. And by the way, use this number, and they'll pay them with a credit card over the phone for whatever needs to be charged. Cool.
That ain't bad.
So I go to the tire shop. Hey, this is what's going on. I need to know if it's repairable, starters. Cost doesn't really matter because I can't tow with my donut spare and my trailer. Cost is irrelevant. I've got the people that are going to pay for it anyway. They were able to fix the tire. They drilled it out, and they patched it and plugged it. He goes, you're good to go. I'm like, great. How much do I owe you for that? It's like, nah. I'm like, come on, man. You guys spent like an hour on this. He goes, nah, I spent like 10 minutes fixing your tire, and then my guy took like 5 minutes to put it back on. He goes, I just couldn't get you all in at the same time because I was waiting for another guy to get here. I'm like, well, let me pay you something. He goes, nah, have a good day.
Well, I went to a tire shop when I first got here because I lived in an area that had a lot of
Commercial Tire in Baker City, by the way. They're the folks.
I went to a tire shop on Fairview. They charged me $20 to fix a flat. So I ain't paying that again. I went to another one, which was over at U-Stick and
10 Mile?
Eagle.
Okay.
I can't think of the name of the business now, but I know right where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
They repaired it, no charge. My wife got a flat the next day. They repaired it, no charge.
Wow.
I had 3 flats fixed there. Do you know where I bought my next set of tires from?
Right.
They took care of me.
Where you got good service.
Yeah.
That's why I go back to Tire Pros. And I can talk to the guy that owns the place because he's there, Chris. Anyway, Laquita has a great question. I love this. What if someone tells you you're more expensive than the competition? Oh, that's not Laquita, that's John Tulipop. John from Chicago is on board with us
All right,
today.
John, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, man. What if someone tells you you're more expensive than your competition?
Only he knows what he's worth. That's my line that I use all the time.
Okay.
If he's that cheap, only he knows that he's not worth the money.
Ooh.
In a way,
That's a little backhanded. John, that's a really strong question. And my answer is, yep, I am more expensive. I specialize. And I've studied this for a long time. Then sometimes, depending on how that conversation is going, I'll say, you knew I was more expensive, so why are we at the table together? And I'm not snarky about this at all. I want to know, you knew I was more expensive when you came, so why are we having the conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like your work better. I'm like, does that not have value? I honestly, John, I don't get that question a whole lot. I actually had this call this morning. I've talked a little bit about it. I got an email while I was setting up the live. I didn't want to let it sit. I also didn't have time to sit down and write a thoughtful email. I just picked up the phone, called her while I was still working on the live. And first of all, she was super excited to get my call. Who calls people anymore?
Exactly.
She was super excited to get the call within 2 or 3 minutes of her sending the email. And during that conversation, she needed to know they've got 3 locations. They're spread out geographically in our community. Do you do this on location? Do you have a studio? How does this work? I talked a little bit about this already. How does this work? How much does it cost? And what's your availability look like? We answered all those questions. We have a studio. You can send your people through here if that's more convenient. If you have an occasion where you're getting all of your people together in one place, we'll come do it there. If you need us to hit all 3 of your offices in the course of a day or a day and a half, we can do that too. What's best for your business is how we'll play this, not what's best for me. What's best for your business. And then I drop this. Here's the price. We don't stack our location fees, so if we can cover these 3 locations in sequence, then I'm not going to charge you location fee 3 times. And that's almost like giving a discount. They perceive it as a discount. And then I just say, I'm not the low price leader. This is up front. I haven't got the job yet. I'm not the low price leader. We're highly specialized. This is literally what we do. This is our wheelhouse. I drop that right in that initial conversation. If the next guy she talks to is half the price, she's going to wonder why.
Well, a lot of times they don't even know about your qualifications as a photographer. Okay, I've been around for X amount of years photographing.
Yeah.
I've run a business since '96, and I've got my master, my craftsman.
Yeah.
You know, all the things that a new photographer doesn't have.
Yeah.
I'm insured, and sometimes you got to ask the questions. The hard questions are where they're only a quarter of my price. Number 1, what are their qualifications?
Yeah.
Number 2, their experience. And number 3, are they doing all the business things like taxes and insurance? And
yeah, I don't. John, did I answer your question? I'd love to hear a response from you. And I'll watch for it here. That screen's off to my right. I don't fight this battle very often. I don't ever have to qualify my prices anymore. It's not that I don't get the you're more expensive question, because I do. But I try to lead with that. Like if I can lead with that and they know what to expect, if they know my prices are likely to be more than the next person they call, I've already kind of addressed that. John says, I'm okay with that, just want to be able to respond positive without cutting down the competition, but lifting me up. So that's exactly how we do it, John. Sorry. It's just that. I lead with it, and I am oftentimes more expensive than my competition. And sometimes if they pick, there's 2 other photographers in our valley that specifically do what I do. Not the same way that I do it, but they're headshot photographers. and they have the experience, and they do really good work. And you know what? If they say, you know what, we're going to go with so-and-so because they're a little less expensive, cool. They're a great human, give them your business. And I'm going to move on to the next person. I'm just not going to worry too much about it. I did say earlier that I'll tell a commercial client, you can't tell, all right, let's back up. Psst, I'm going to clear that slate for just a minute. You can't, after the fact, after they've said that you're too much, tell them that you're willing to negotiate. That sounds desperate. However, I lead with, I know I'm not the low price leader. If we're close to your budget, let's have a conversation. This is business. Like I said earlier, I don't want to discount, I don't want to not discount a few $100s on a $15,000 bill or a $12,000 bill, right? That would just be, it's just the most asinine thing, but
right.
we get, these are my prices.
Period.
Period. And then after the fact, they're like, yeah, that's out of our budget. Well, how much out of our budget? If I'm wildly out of your budget, we're not having the right conversation. Anyway, let me refer to someone who could probably fall within your budgetary constraints. I'm fine with that. I love to give referrals, and I've got a handful of folks in our organization that I know I can refer out to because I know their pricing, and I know they're less than me, and I know what they're going to do. They're going to produce a decent product, right? All right. That's the best rabbit hole right there when we can answer that question. John is a headshot photographer in Chicago.
Yep.
And where I play with police officers, he plays with firemen.
Oh, we won't hold that against you.
I think we're about at the end here. I want to just hit this slide. I like to have you talk about it. Ready for that?
I think most everybody is a member, but if you're not, this is the place to go.
Yeah.
I mean, between the education, the camaraderie, everything going on, you can't not join PPI.
Yeah, it's the value proposition is so high, belonging to this organization, having a community of trusted advisors and folks that you can pour your knowledge into is essential to professional development.
Well, even if you've been around the block a time or two, or 3 or 4,
yeah,
you can still join and you can help other photographers become better photographers. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not in the business anymore shooting all the time, not having to make a dime doing it. But I joined PPI, number one, the camaraderie. That's the biggest thing.
And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go have food and eat tacos. And
number two, not just camaraderie, here's a chance for me to give back.
Right.
I love giving back.
Well, so let's talk about service on the board. We're always trying to develop new leaders into positions where they can take on some of the challenges. They can take on projects like some of our events. And in fact, I'd love to have a conversation with John Tulipano about they've got all of their instructional events for next year planned. John, I want to duplicate that, dude. I want to know your process. So let's have a conversation about that. We should jump on a Zoom.
And I still want to come out to Chicago and teach. So
yeah, I told him that.
You know where to find me.
He's like, yeah, we've got all next year all planned out.
You know where to find me for 2025.
Hey, we're a 2-for-1 deal. I mean, it's kind of not really like that. But we'd come together and teach. Like you could just be like, Idaho's coming to teach. It'd be cool.
I'll do an all-day class.
Yeah.
And my prices are negotiable because
Are you saying you're cheap?
I might be cheap, but I'm not free.
All right. Well, let's come back to that slide. That's it. We want you here. We want you to be a part of our organization. We want you to be part of the professional community here in Idaho. And let's just hang it right there.
There you go.
All right, folks. We'll see you again soon. Certainly first Friday for September. It might be Mike and Larry.
Oh my God, no.
That would be very cool. With me just producing in the background. We'll see if I can keep my mouth shut. And that's that, folks.
We'll see you at lunch today.
Bye-bye.